Hello there.
Hi. So, where's it going? 4, 2, 5. Okay, 5. There we go. So, this is the second time I'm doing this. I went through this whole video, which is about 20 minutes, and because I felt that there were things that were not correct. So this time, let's get it on. Faster. And he's going to talk about hosting, and I'm going to try and point out where he's not right, and I'm going to try and do it much faster than I did last time. So, but before I start, I want to say that he does have a lot of good content, and a lot of things that he showed me about Linux and setting up and things that I didn't know about, even though I've been using Linux for a long time, maybe as long as he's been alive, maybe, could be. A lot of content on Vim, so that don't let that put you off. He has some decent stuff, but I think that he doesn't know what he's so much about web hosting as people might believe. So let's try and go through and pick this apart. I will try and do it a lot faster. Oh, yeah, a lot faster than I did before. See, I already made a document here where I talked about things that I thought are right, but this is going to be spoilers. Okay, so one thing I also want to point out that when you watch YouTube videos, it's good to watch them on 2 times speed because talk slow. Okay, 20-minute video. Let's get
So there's never been a better time to start your own personal website or websites, and I think that although it's a great stride to make, there are a lot of decisions people often confuse on. One of them is choosing how to host their website, not just with what host, but how to host their website. There are 4 main alternatives I want to talk about.
Okay, so he says 4 in the title, list 3.
In this video, and explains the pros and cons in my perspective.
Okay.
I get a lot of questions about them. One is traditional hosting, that is renting some server space and building your website there and hosting it from there. Second is using one of the many free hosts out there nowadays, GitLab pages, having a separate Tumblr blog that serves as your domain name, or having some other kind of free hosts out there. Third is self-hosting, much loved by independent people. There are some complications to it, but it's always an interesting option. And my personal favorite, having a virtual private server, which I know a lot of people don't know about, but they're common nowadays, and I will go ahead and say
Also, watch his video if you want to see how real speed.
that is my recommended choice. But there are pros and cons to all 4 of them. So I want to talk about them, give my perspective. I'm going to run through all 4 of the options, and then we'll take from there. So I hope you learn
Okay,
everything. I
so
hope
there's
this makes
some
it easier to
things
make your
that
server
we're already wrong there.
No, the first option, as I said, is what I'm calling traditional hosting.
No, it's not traditional hosting. It's shared hosting. I'll tell you what traditional hosting is at the end.
What I mean by this is when you usually go to some kind of domain host and you say you pay some amount of money to basically rent server space or you upload files to have your website there.
Yes,
now, this,
you
of course,
rent
is
server
opposed
space
to the
to
other
upload.
original.
You have somebody else's computer where you're uploading your stuff. Okay.
Just to host your own website, but of course there are downsides to that. We'll talk about that when we talk about self-hosting. But traditional hosting usually is relatively cheap. You'll pay more than you pay for your domain name usually, but it's relatively cheap and you can just put files on some kind of web server.
Cheap.
So one example of it here is nearly free speech.
Okay, so this is one of the things where he showed me something that I've never heard about. So this is neat. You pay for what you use. Here. It says here, so you get full SSH and STP access. Nice. And they also give you support. Oh, that's pretty neat stuff. I should look at this. Okay.
This is a nice site. It's actually a pay-as-you-go kind of.
Okay.
You'll pay some amount, which is usually around $3 a month. I think that's about a normal amount.
Yeah,
and
that's
you can
about how much
upload
you should
files
pay
to a
for
particular directory on a server, and that will broadcast your website.
No, you don't broadcast a website. That's not how. It's not radio. Somebody sends a request to your domain, and then you send it back. Okay.
Now, to be clear, when you're putting your files on the server, this is actually a server used by many different people.
Yes,
you don't have root access to the server. You can't make changes to that.
You don't have root access, but you do have SSH access. That means that you can run scripts on the server and you can install things. Contrary to what he says here. He's going to say it in a minute.
And when I talk about VPS, I'll talk about why this is probably a sort of a bad thing. But the benefits of it is that you don't actually have to worry about setting up a server. You don't have to install Apache or figure out how that works or something like that. So I'll go ahead.
So in the end, he's going to contradict himself sort of here and say that it's hard getting things set up on a shared host, but getting things set up on a shared host is probably going to be as easy as it's going to get.
I'll say this again later in the video, but if you just want to have one website and do whatever you want on it, having a traditional host is probably
okay. So it doesn't matter how many websites you're running.
I'm going to recommend you to use VPS.
So most shared hosts, at least the ones that I use, they let you use as many domains as you want for the same price. I mean, you pay one price, you can host as many domains as you want. I get unlimited access. So unlimited usage, that means unlimited bandwidth, unlimited storage, and no other types of stuff, constrictions.
I'll talk about that. Now, the second option.
Okay, I like that he started out with GitLab pages. This is the one that I would recommend for somebody that has a little bit of, somebody that's a programmer, somebody that knows about what continuous integration is. Thing is, with GitLab pages, you need to use GitLab CI to deploy your site, which is a really cool thing. I put it in the end, but I'll talk about it now since he has it up. GitLab CI, continuous integration, if you don't know what that is, they continuously build your site. Every time that you make a commit, your site or your software is being built. So what GitLab pages does is you can you set up a script that will run whenever you make changes to your site. and it will build a deployable kind of a package or directory, and it will upload it to a public directory that is web accessible. And you can set this up to this points to a domain. If you've seen I have my org mode with my Emacs configuration is published using one of these GitLab pages. You can see my GitLab CI Sharma there. Sorry, Hebrew went in. You can see my GitLab CI there and how it was configured to automatically deploy, update my site. There was a little bit bugginess with it, but I could, what I'm doing is when I save my site, Emacs builds the HTML file, and then I just commit the HTML file. But I could just as easily, but I could just as well have it run a Docker image and install Emacs. So it's a kind of a mini Linux machine, we'll call it like that. It's not exactly correct, but a mini Linux machine that runs Emacs, and it could generate the HTML from the org mode there. Or if you wanted a Hasselschon to use VI to run it on their servers and build your script or your bash scripts or whatever, you could do it there. You can install whatever to build your software. You can install almost any software that you want to build your software, not when the site is actually being hosted or deployed. So you can have any type of dynamic content there, but that doesn't mean you can't have JavaScript. Okay, so I went kind of let's go back there.
What would probably be more appealing because it is free is to host on sometimes free provider. Now this is a more general recommendation. There's not like one place you can go to, but I'll put it this way. I have two tabs pulled up here, GitLab and GitHub. Both of these sites.
Okay, GitLab is open source. GitHub is not open source, and it's owned by Microsoft. So take that for what it is.
Allow you to have what are called either GitLab pages or GitHub pages, where you can, using Git, upload your own website as a repository and host it for people to see. Now, of course, you don't get a domain name with this, but you can usually set up a domain name so it looks to this website. So if your domain is mydomain.com, that will not totally alias it, so it'll just apply for a Blogspot account or...
Okay, so I was talking about Blogspot, and I would say in the same vein is things like WordPress. These will give you a free site. These are probably, if you have absolutely no technical ability, or you don't want to mess around with it, that's the best way to go. Go to WordPress, you can set up a site really easily. It's pretty decent software, especially for somebody that doesn't have so much technical experience. Lots of sites on the internet are hosted with WordPress. What was I going to say? But these, I would not say, these are different, much different than using GitLab static pages. So GitLab static pages and GitHub, you need to be technical. You need to know what you're doing when you build your site. Things like Blogspot or Blogger and WordPress, these are things which are more considered content management systems. So you don't have so much control over what's going on, but they take care of everything for you. I wouldn't look at it so much as a host, as a web host, as a way of managing content that you want to get out there. You can have it that your domain points to it, but they're completely different animals. One is super easy, and they do everything for you, but it's less hands-on, less configurable. One is completely opposite. You have to know exactly what you're doing. You need to know how to build HTML pages. You need to know about deploying. You need to understand continuous integration. You need to set up your certificates and things like that. That things you need to do yourself. So I think these would probably be almost two separate things. Okay.
Blogspot still exists, I actually don't know. But theoretically, if it did exist, it could apply to Blogspot, or it could apply to, say, Tumblr, or any kind of place where you could usually have your own account and a blog. You could just use that as your website.
Another thing I want to point out is usually these other ones, the content management systems, they have a free tier. Like Wix is another example, or with these builders, or Squarespace. No, Squarespace has a free tier. But if you want to use your own domain name, you usually have to pay for that privilege. The free tier usually doesn't let you use your own domain name. GitLab pages does let you use your own domain name. It's kind of not the most obvious thing to set up, but it does let you use them. Okay.
And all of those sites will usually provide a way for you to link a domain name with it. So if someone goes to that domain name, they will be viewing your Tumblr blog or whatever it is, but they won't know that. They'll just see it as whatever website.
And
the downside of this, upside of course, is, well, you get it for free, you can do whatever you want. But actually, the downside is you can't do whatever you want. And that is because often these kind of sites will be very constrained in what kind of user interface you can have or how the website is actually generated.
I don't know what he means by what kind of user interface you can have. They're HTMLs. So whatever you can build in HTML, you can build.
So on GitLab and GitHub, for example, I'm pretty sure you can have any kind of static HTML, or you can use Hugo or Jekyll to generate it.
Well, okay, you can have any type of static HTML. Hugo and Jekyll, these are ways to build static HTML. On GitLab, I don't know about GitHub, anything that you can use to build a static HTML page, you can almost, I mean, you couldn't really use on Windows box there. I don't know, does Docker make Windows boxes? I don't know. But almost anything that will run on Linux, you can run on your GitLab they call it a runner. They give you a bit of time on a machine, on a server that will build your site up. I talked about this a few minutes ago. Build your site up, anything you want, and then it deploys it. Okay, and it takes like these static pages. You can think of it like a printer, Ken. So you write up your document, whatever you're using, and you press print. This is on a piece of paper. You can't change it, but you can put whatever pictures, you can put whatever type of JavaScript you want. You can put it in there. You can also use third-party plugins, like if you want to use something like MailChimp to collect emails or have some kind of form.
Site. But outside of that, there's not really that much you can do. You can't really have, if you need server-side scripts or something, you can't really do that. If you need some extra software, you can't really install that. They're very limited. I would recommend GitHub or Gitlab or one of the, even Tumblr, whatever. If you have some kind of library that already exists, you can link that to the together. Now, this isn't really a fully customizable website, but if you're just making a personal page,
fully customizable. You can fully customize your GitLab page. Your Docker, your WordPress, and all these other ones are not so much.
And that's all you need. This might just be all you need. So it's definitely worthwhile contemplating. So option number 3 is self-hosting. And a lot of people get really excited when they hear about self-hosting because they like the idea of having your own website.
Okay, so self-hosting, I'm kind of gloss over it. Okay, the important things here at self-hosting and VPS, and the last one that she doesn't talk about, bare metal hosting, are essentially the same thing. You have an installation of Linux or whatever operating system you're going to use, BSD, Mac, or Windows, even if you're crazy, is installed on a machine. You set it up, you set up the server, you set up everything software side. The difference thing, self-hosting, you're responsible for the hardware yourself, so you build the machine. It's connected physically to your plug at your house. You pay for the bandwidth, you pay for everything else, but it's a one-time investment on the hardware. With VPS, I'll talk about it more. VPS is a virtual self-hosting. You have VirtualBox that you have somewhere else. If you use VirtualBox, that's exactly what it is. That's somebody else is taking care of it for you. And bare metal is the same thing. You just have a Linux box that you built, or somebody else builds for you, and it sits in their, they call it a server farm, but it sits in their physical space. So it's not sitting at your house; it's sitting at somebody else's house, and they usually have better internet connections and better machines and things like that. But they're basically the same thing. The thing that you need to worry about if you're doing self-hosting in your home is static IP, which you will usually have to pay much more for with residential hosts. And you also need to take into account that your upload is going to be much less than your download, your upload speeds. And he also talks about the usage on your computer, and that they can overload it. If you're running a static site, unless you're running some really heavy calculations, you should be fine. So skip. No self-hosting.
Cool, not setup because you want to have a website that gets good enough traffic.
It's fine.
That you have on your home. So that's pickfire.dk.
Okay. Don't know about this guy.
It'll probably be really sluggish or not pop up. So that is one concern. If you want any reason,
unless you're really big, if you got a lot of hits, it's not going to be an issue. One thing that you can do to mitigate that is use something like Cloudflair, which is a CDN. So what they do is kind of they cache your site. So before somebody comes to your physical site, where say before your traffic gets to your computer that's sitting in your house, they will go to the Cloudflare server and give them a cached version of your page. So it'll make everything a lot faster. So I should, on any of these, I think Cloudflare is a good idea.
So what is a VPS? Number 4, the last type of hosting. And the one that I recommend, and I use
the last type. You can't get to the last type.
A VPS is a virtual private server. It's sort of like hosting in that you're buying service from some kind of provider. But instead of renting a portion of their hard drive, you get...
Okay, so yes, you are renting a portion of their hard drive. It is separated from the others because you have a file on their hard drive, which is your hard drive. So your hard drive is a file on somebody else's hard drive, and there's lots of other people which are also on their hard drive with you. Yeah, so this is, if you've ever used VirtualBox, this is what it is. VirtualBox is running on somebody else's machine.
An entire virtual server that you have root access to, you can install whatever you want, you can do whatever you want.
You can do it whatever you want. You can install pretty much whatever you want, pretty much do whatever you want, but there are going to be restrictions. You have bandwidth restrictions, you have usage restrictions on processor, memory, disk space, things like that. And sometimes there will be port restrictions. I had one that I was using that didn't let me use port 25, so I couldn't receive mails. I couldn't run a mail server there, which is something I was doing for a client, so that was annoying.
You can configure whatever websites you want. Now, I've left out some of the downsides of hosting on a traditional hosting service for this, so I can explain to you why VPSs are so nice. Now, again, self-hosting will have many of these benefits, but I think having a VPS is a little better because you don't have to worry about bandwidth or anything.
That's expensive. that's crazy expensive for the lowest tier. I pay about $3 a month for the virtual host that I use. So
Yeah. Now here is my VPS.
yeah, I'll put links in the description for the ones that I use for shared hosting, what I use, and for VPS, what I use.
Host. Again, I have no particular endorsement to Namecheap, which just happens to be what I use. Now the downside to VPS is the price. I pay $14.88. $14.88 might sound a little scary to some of you guys, but it isn't really that bad, because even though I'm paying nearly $15 a month for a VPS, there are a lot of costs that I'm saving. Now, in comparison to a physical server at your house, you're hosting, you're not paying for power, I don't have to worry about the band.
No, you're not saving. You're not saving. This is wrong. You're not saving anything by using a virtual. The only thing that you gain by using a virtual VPS is you are gaining the flexibility to run more software and customize the server almost exactly what you want. So you have root access, like you said before. You can restart the server. You can install things like Nextcloud on the server. Or an IRC server, but you are not saving anything. He's misleading on this. I don't know I doubt it's intentional, but it's wrong.
This bandwidth is plenty for my multiple websites, a terabyte of bandwidth a month, and it also has an SSD and all that kind of stuff. But the real benefits of having a VPS are pretty simple to explain. Now let me put it this way: I have a personal website, lukesmith.xyz.
Okay, so he's going to go ahead and say that he can host many domains on the same machine, and he just pays once. So first thing, for all these domains, they're sharing the same resources. So if you have 2 gigs of RAM that you use on your VPS, they're all sharing the 2 gigs of RAM. On shared host, you're sharing whatever's on the machine, and they usually will balance it out so everybody has what they need. For me, I pay one price, and I can host unlimited sites. This is limited by the amount of RAM here. It has 2 gigs of RAM and 2 CPU cores. This is limited by that. You can't host unlimited amounts of sites on that. On my shared host, I can. Okay, so that you're not saving any cost on that. You can go watch this video. I can't skip it here, but he leads you to believe that for each host that you want to run, you have to pay. But it's not true. At least not for the ones that I've been using. Also, he says that it's easy to set up. But it's not. It's a non-trivial thing setting up a virtual host with Apache. It's non-trivial. So on a shared host, it's usually a click of a button. Yeah, so you do have to use a GUI, but there's usually APIs. If you want to use the API, you can make an API call to run up a new machine. They're usually very easy to use, much easier than setting up a new virtual host on a VPS.
Dollars is actually going to all those different websites. Now compare that with having traditional hosting. The problem with traditional hosting is that they will often nickel and dime you for either having different domains or even subdomains. So if I go to my website, so this is lukesmith.xyz,
I pay the same price for
typical
all
hosts,
my
they will
domains.
charge you extra for having a subdomain. If you want
I don't know who
or if you just want another
about.
domain name or something like that. Now if you have a VPS or a self-host, or you self-host, but if you have a VPS, you can get as many websites as you want. All you have to do is configure it in the server, which isn't a very difficult process. You can have as many
It's not trivial.
as many subdomains, as many anything that you
And this talking from somebody who's done this hundreds of thousands of times. It's a non-trivial thing.
want. Additionally, you have root access to that server. That means
Yes,
you can
you do
install
have
whatever
root
software you want.
access.
If you want to have an IRC server,
Almost
you can have that. You
whatever
want to have a chain style image board, you can have that. You want to have a PHP board, I must have a MyBB PHP.
Wait, this is wrong. You can install a PHP board on a shared host very easily. Probably easier than what you would set it up on a VPS. And because the shared hosts, I think I talked about it before, and I'm still recording, right? Okay. The shared hosts, they will take care of all the PHP plugins that you need. If you're a VPS, you have to make sure to install all the plugins to PHP that you need to run whatever PHP software that you need. Okay, so most of the people I think that are watching his channel or watching mine know how to install packages on Linux, but it's something that you still need to worry about. You need to install those. On the shared host, it's usually all installed for you. A lot of times, I think the PHP message board is even a click of a button on the one that I can use that it'll install the software for you. But usually installing PHP software, you upload the files to your server and that's it. Shared hosts run PHP scripts fine, no problem. Probably even better than VPS.
Board on a form, a web form on my website. That's easy to do. You can just install that on VPS. You can't install that on traditional hosting. Or if you can, you'll have to install often obsolete software that they make available to you.
No. I have the newest version of PHP, not obsolete software, your version of MySQL. This is not true.
Graphical interface isn't very flexible, and it's not. It's honestly.
You also have SSH access. I can go in there and I can use wget to pull it down, copy files, make symlinks, do all the things that I would do. The only thing is I don't have root access.
It's just a big pain. So
no,
if you're a person who just wants one website and one website only, hosting might be okay, traditional hosting might be okay, but you really want a VPS if you're going to have 80.
I would say that actually the opposite. If you have one server that you want to run, and you have a project that you want to run, or on the other hand, you want a server to play around with, but a real production thing, I would say one VPS, one project. One VPS, one project. One of the big benefits of VPS is that things are in kind of a logical walled block, so they're not interfering one with the other. With the virtual hosting, not virtual, shared hosting, it's not. Things can get mixed up in there, and it's not as secure. But VPS, if you're doing something in production, one server for one project. If you want a bunch of other things that are not so important, go with a shared host. You can install whatever you want there.
If you want to have multiple subdomains or domain names or something like this, because frankly, traditional hosts, since they have to configure this kind of stuff for you, they will charge you out the wazoo to have this kind of stuff, and it's sort of a pain. And the other thing that's super
like
important
20 years ago
is SSL or HTTPS. You see that all my websites here, they all have HTTPS. So if you are doing any kind of sensitive transactions on your website, you 1000% need HTTP.
Yes, if you're doing any type of transactions, you're collecting user data or you're sending them back private data, you need HTTPS. It's irresponsible not. But if you are using static content, it is pointless. The only thing that you get is you get that nice little green lock in Google Chrome, and you'll probably get better in Google search results. But you have a public site. Everything there is available to the whole world anywhere. What do you have by encrypting it? I mean, this is like encrypting the address on your house that everybody can see when they walk by on the street. Well, I mean, why? It's just more of a pain. No, I'm sad that it's gone this way. That you need every site needs to have HTTPS now, or you don't get a good place in Google. But there's no need for it on something that is public. It's publicly available.
If you have just normal websites like me, you'll probably want them. You'll be higher in search results if you have HTTPS. It's just nice to have that extra layer of security. But in order to get HTTPS or SSL, you have to get a certificate, which expires after a certain period. But luckily nowadays, there's this nice thing called certbot, or certbot is this nice little thing put out by the Electron Frontier.
Okay, so certbot, you can see here, it uses something here called Let's Encrypt.
Foundation that can get you free SSL certificates. You don't have to pay for anything, and it will actually auto-renew them. I mention this because I get all the HTTPS for all my websites with certbot, and I can only use certbot because I have an actual VPS.
This is not true. Shared hosting, you can use Let's Encrypt. I don't know that's a certbot. I haven't really looked at it. Let's Encrypt. I can say my shared host that I use. There's a button there that I click. They say, hey, give me HTTPS and give me a Let's Encrypt certificate. They go and they set up the certificate for me. I don't pay an extra cent for it. I don't have to pay anything else for this, and it's all taken care of. They send me once in a while an email that we've updated your certificate. That's the only thing that I hear about it. So. He's making it out like if you want HTTPS, you have to use a VPS. That is completely not true. Completely not true. You can also use HTTPS using the free servers like Gitlab. They'll show you how to do it using Let's Encrypt there. Let's Encrypt is also not the only one. You can use Cloudflair, which I've talked about in the past. Another thing is setting this up on a VPS is, again, non-trivial. It's not going to be the easiest thing to do. You have to know how to set up where to put the keys and everything. It's not hard, but it's non-trivial. And if you're just setting up a simple website that you just want to post a blog something to, why do you want to mess with this stuff? If you want to do it because you want to learn, that's one thing. But just that you have to always constantly mess with these things. For simple blogs and simple sites, even a simple, we was talking about a PHP message board. Let the host pay for it. Let the host take care of this. Push a button, install your Let's Encrypt, or push a button, install your Cloudflare, and that's it. Not this. No.
If you have traditional hosting, what often happens is if you want HTTPS, you have to pay. You have to buy a certificate either through your host or third party.
Okay, there is reasons to buy a certificate. There's differences that I'm not going to get into, specifically because I'm not an expert on this, between the way that Let's Encrypt signs the certificates in a way that you would pay for one, which is, I guess, more trusted. You can get a more trusted sort of certificate, which that you do have to pay for. But Let's Encrypt is free for everybody. Doesn't matter what type of hosting you're using.
That's sometimes cheaper, but then they'll charge you an installation fee, and then you have to renew them after every couple of months. And it's just a huge pain having to do something like that.
Renewing them is a pain. I've had to deal with that, and I've had to deal with sites running down. It's a pain, but if you're using something like that you're collecting real serious data, then you probably need that. But using Let's Encrypt, much easier going to be on a shared host than on a VPS, and it's going to be the same price.
So ironically enough, even though, again, this may sound like a whole lot more money, paying nearly $50 a month to host all these websites, but I get all the websites. I don't have to pay for HTTPS, when nowadays, this might change money, but I'm saying about HTTPS, but right now, beginning of 2019, pretty much all hosts that have traditional hosting, they will charge extra for, having HTTPS and setting that.
List, who charges more? I mean, I've been, maybe I'm out of touch, but the host that I've been using gives you Let's Encrypt free with a click of a button, and I don't think that they are anything special. I mean, they're just the ones that I've used, and the prices are about the same with whatever else is in the market, so I stay with them.
Because they have to do a lot of configuration, but if you have your own VPS, you can just do.
Nobody in those sitting on those servers is going in and configuring your certificates for you. There's a button, then there's scripts that run everything. Everything's going to be automated. So
something you have to think about. And so that's one of the reasons that while I actually used to use traditional hosting, this is one of the reasons I actually switched to a VPS, because I realized that I would be paying way more if I had traditional hosting and I had to maintain all these certificates and check and see if they were expired and that would be paying. It's nice just to have them done automatically on server that I can control and install stuff on. So that is why I recommend VPSs. Now mine here again, 1488.
No, VPS is good if you want to play around or if you need something. What you would do if you want something like Node.js. VPS is it's almost gonna be required for that. I mean, there's ways to get it working on shared host, but VPS or Python, Django, things like that. You're going to need a server that can run more, that you can really install. I mean, I think for CDI you can do it, but it can be a pain. Or if you need to run some kind of real custom software, or you need to compile something to run on the server, or if you need to compile special PHP modules, like there's Falcon PHP, which is compiled libraries, which is kind of neat. That you're going to need to use You're going to need to use VPS or self-hosted or bare metal.
That is actually, I don't want to say it's expensive, but it's probably normal. You can actually find sites that offer VPSs of about the same bandwidth for a good bit less. I'll put some of those in the video description. Some of you
I will put in the video description of mine what I use for about $3. I don't know if it's about the same level, but if you just need a self-host site, it's going to be fine. $3. And I will also put a link to what I use for my shared hosting, and I will see if I can get some coupon codes. I probably have coupon codes that I can put in the description for giving you. So recording, right? Oh, we're going about half an hour. Great. Let's finish.
Actually, recommended some of them, but just check those out. All right, so there you have it. Again, my recommendation.
So there you have it. Don't listen to his recommendations. Listen to my recommendations. Okay. Shared host. This is, I think, what everybody's going to want to start with. If you have money that you can pay for it, they're going to be cheap, really cheap. You get SSH access, you can install software. They give you pretty much unlimited everything. It's going to be less secure because you're running on the same machine as everybody else. I have had sites hacked on shared hosts. That doesn't mean it can't happen on VPS or bare metal or something else, but encryption, HTTPS is free with Let's Encrypt or with Cloudflair. VPS is pretty much the same thing as running your own self-hosting, but they take care of a lot of the tashtit. Well, how do you say tashtit? I don't know, the connections and electricity and all that kind of things. But it's going to be limited. It's not going to be as much power as what your home machine's going to have. GitLab pages, static pages, awesome thing. You want a free way to go with this, but you need to be technical enough to understand how to use GitLab CI. Bare metal server is what a real traditional server is. A bare metal server, you're renting a machine that sits somebody else's house, somebody else's office, somebody else's server farm. It's like I would say VPS is like a traditional server, but it's virtual traditional server, virtual bare metal server. Okay, so I will try and put in the description links to who I use. Try and put some coupon codes there. Hopefully Luke Smith isn't going to be mad at me and try and tell me that I'm doing some kind of copyright nonsense. I really do think that he's got good content. I sent him not a lot of money, but he asked to send shekels, so I sent shekels. Which shekels is 2 shekels, so that's nothing. But I hope he's going to be cool about me trying to, I guess, correct some of his bad advice. So hopefully you watched this at 2 times speed and you didn't waste the full half an hour that took me to record it, and more than half an hour. The first time I pressed record and it didn't record. Okay, call 2. Oh, I should be back with more Emacs videos soon. And I also wanted to do a my own series about getting started with making a website for dummies, not dummies or noobs, people that are non-technical people. Yeah, okay, call to.